Hey folks, Matt here, and today I'm here with Chris.
Hey,
Say hello.
how you doing, Matt?
Good,
How
good,
you
good.
doing, everyone?
Good. And Chris is going to show me 10 metal records from his vinyl collection. We're going to talk about them a little bit, and then after, off camera, I'm going to go listen to them, and then come back to you and tell you what I think about each and every one of them. Stay tuned. All right, so we're going to do 10 records I know little to nothing about. In fact, I probably never heard these records, maybe even these bands.
I tried to pick out some that you would not be familiar with.
Good. That's the spirit. So let's see the first record.
All right, first one is a band from Spain. It's pronounced Qayin Regis.
All right.
They're kind of an obscure band. Only way I found them is just by going through sound bites on Hell's Headbanger.
Okay.
Has a really strange atmosphere to it. It's a sound like I've never heard before, which is really hard to do these days.
Okay.
Typical black vinyl.
Yeah.
It's an EP. It's only, I think, 4 tracks.
Okay.
Dead Seed Productions, which is something a label I'm not real familiar with.
No, me neither.
Black Seed Productions from 2018. This is their first. I do have their first full length, which is called Doctrine, which is very similar. Not as deep of an atmosphere, unfortunately, but still very much the same band.
Of the songs, what's your favorite?
Mayan Shell,
Okay.
which is the first side. Actually, it's only 3 tracks. One entire side is 1 track.
Okay.
It seems to have the most atmosphere. It's got some unique instruments that I can't say I've ever heard in any other black metal band.
Cool.
Black metal, but very non-traditional.
Okay. Cool.
Next one is a Finnish band. A lot of people think Finnish black metal, they automatically assume a certain sound. This is very much different. It's Devouring Star. It's called The Arteries of Heresy. Dark Descent Records.
I saw the logo, yep.
Territure Possessions is a co-production. Okay. Very deep, not super fast. It's just kind of morphs and just slowly changes. It's just this wall of sound. Absolutely amazing. I just got goosebumps just describing it.
Nice.
Comes on kind of a smoke vinyl.
Yep.
Don't really know much about the band. I've tried writing to the band, never got a reply.
Wow.
I've tried writing to Dark Descent and asked, is there anything new coming from Devouring Star? Any merchandise?
Yeah.
No response.
Well, maybe they'll see this.
Yeah,
They'll
so
jump in the comment section and fill this guy in.
Finnish Devouring Star, highly recommend it.
Nice.
This one's a Greek band. Not your traditional Greek sound by any means.
Right.
Probably some of the most vicious and violent vocals I've ever heard, but also very clear. You can actually hear they're actually saying words.
All right. I like words.
It's a band called Devathorn, and it's called Vitria or Vitra.
Okay.
It's on some sort of controversial label, World Terror Committee.
Okay.
They've got a couple controversial bands on it, but it's not the label in general. It's a double vinyl. Amazing artwork. Comes with a poster and an insert. Kind of a antique looking insert print.
I like it.
Poster, I think, is the cover. It's actually a pretty good size.
Oh, yeah, it's a big one.
Yeah.
Oh, it's nice.
Yeah.
Very
Nice poster.
There you go.
Try to get some of it in the frame there.
There you go. Yep.
And the gatefold.
Yeah, Gavill's nice.
Try to get the reflection.
There you go.
And absolutely probably one of the greatest metal albums I think I've ever heard. For me.
Wow.
It's just got...
That's saying something.
Yeah, that's it. I even wrote to them and told them, and I said, absolutely amazing. It's got some of the elements that I like. It's got that vocal that's got kind of a higher pitch and the lower pitch. It's got fast stuff, slow stuff. It's just got power, energy, and passion, which a lot of bands don't have. They've also done a split with Blaze of Perdition.
Yep.
And they've done a split with Inferno, which was their last release.
Yep.
Still waiting for something new, though.
Okay.
Pandemic, I kind of put a damper on some of that.
Favorite song on there?
That one would probably be Doctrinified, which is the second track. And then it kind of goes right into Cathedral of Set.
Yep.
Those are probably the 2 best tracks on it.
Cool. Did we see the vinyl? I can't remember.
No, I don't think we did.
Let's see it again or for the first time.
Yeah.
How's that? We're getting old. That's what it is.
Traditional black.
Why not?
Yeah.
Cool.
little bit out of my wheelhouse. It's a band called Crossvault.
Okay. I have heard of them.
It's a more traditional metal, doomy kind of sound.
Yep, that might be why.
But very grand. The
Yep.
whole sound.
Great.
Amazing. Not really something that I would buy normally.
Okay.
Best song I find on here is called Other Rivers.
Okay.
Just seems to take you on a journey, which is what the cover art and the inside graphics seem to portray. I believe this is on a smoke vinyl. It's kind of a unique printed inner sleeve, where it's die cut on one side, but not the other.
Not the other, right.
With the lyrics. And it's a traditional black.
Nice.
And this is actually on Iron Bonehead, which I found very unusual because most of the Iron Bonehead stuff I've been buying is very more on the extreme side.
This would be more of a Shadow Kingdom band, or
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
very much so.
Yep.
Them or like a Metal Blade kind of sound.
Sure. Okay.
Stuff.
Yep.
Next up is Mannveira from Iceland.
Nice.
Unique
A
artwork.
little nudity there for you.
Yeah, and actually, I couldn't pick a favorite song off this. I listened to it pretty much as a whole every time.
Okay.
It's very deep, I would have to say. It's death metal, but it's a little bit got some blackness mixed in with it.
Right.
Just doesn't sound like anything else I've heard in quite a while, which is rare. And it's got a nice black and white gray splatter vinyl.
Yeah.
Dark Descent Records.
I don't mind clear with a little bit of color in it.
Yeah, I find they have a better sound quality.
Okay.
You get the really crazy splatters and multicolors. I've actually found several that I have where the needle will actually kind of have a little bit of a hiccup where the colors change.
Okay.
It's rare,
right,
but it has happened. And it does come with a nice printed insert.
Okay.
No lyrics, just the band members.
Yep.
And some liner notes about the production and recording. They also did a split with Catonic Cervix.
Okay. Nice name.
Yeah, they're kind of like a death metal band if Voivod went death metal.
Okay.
It's that really technical.
Yeah.
But yeah, they did a split with them on that, and that's where I discovered them from.
Cool.
This one's actually been out for a little while, but it's just a great album, a great band from here in the U.S. called Gravehill, Death Curse. They actually got the name from Hellhammer's practice room.
Okay.
It was called Gravehill Bunker.
Okay.
So they actually,
I feel like I've heard about that.
Yeah, they asked Tom Warrior if they could use the name, and he said, "It's a stupid name. Go ahead."
Was that mentioned? Was that mentioned in the Celtic Frost box set? Because it sounds familiar.
I believe so, or it's in the Hellhammer book.
Yeah, which I also have. So
yeah,
yep.
And there's the back cover. Nice blackened thrash. Really fantastic production on Dark Descent Records again. This is in a splatter vinyl. A little bit of red, black. This is, for me, their best album. The one after this, I believe, has a new singer. Doesn't quite have that vicious kind of raspy edge that really drew me to Gravehill. But it's still a great band. Comes with a nice insert. That's kind of small, actually. Actually, it's a poster.
All right.
Sort of like lyric poster insert.
Nice.
The cover on the other side. Love that blackened thrash sound. Similar to like Urn and drawing a blank right now, thinking of some of the different names. But yeah, highly recommend it.
Cool.
Death Curse, Gravehill.
Nice.
Next up, we got a local band. Absolutely love these guys. Became friends with them. Definitely a unique name. Shitangel.
Shitangel.
An album's called Shithead Metal.
Why not?
These are local people to Burlington, and 2 members are from New Hampshire and Massachusetts.
Okay. We're in Vermont, in case you're just tuning in.
Vermont. Exactly. I think I say Burlington. It could be one of many states.
Yes.
There's the back cover. It's on Drakkar Productions, which is once again a slightly controversial.
Not a cologne, by the way.
Yeah, slightly controversial label, but these guys are not racist because they have a Native American female for a singer.
Wow.
But they just took the opportunity to get an album out and into the community.
Cool.
Great band. Black Death, very similar to like Black Witchery and kind of like that more bestial kind of sound.
Got it. Yep.
They got some crazy band names like Mary Mother of Shit and Kaiser von Sodomizer.
Oh, that's the best right
Jump
there.
and Niflheimen.
All right.
Yeah, so
I like them.
all kinds of fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great band, good people. Highly recommend if you want to look for something really underground.
Cool.
Traditional black. Available from Hell's Headbanger and other U.S. distributors now. I bought mine directly from Drakkar because I couldn't wait.
Right.
Next up, awesome band from Belgium. Don't see a lot of bands coming from there. Probably one of my favorite bands right now is Possession. This one's on Iron Bonehead Productions. It's been out for quite some time. It's their 1585 to 1646 EP. And for me, probably one of the greatest metal tracks ever put to wax. Last song called Ablaze. I listened to it even in the shower, and it's one of the few tracks that I've listened to in many a year that actually has me just headbanging, air guitaring, and just actually feeling the music.
And in the shower with wet surfaces where you could wipe out any second.
Yeah.
That's risky behavior.
Yeah. Well, you got to push your feet up against the side of the tub.
All right.
This one's the Die Hard edition on pure white vinyl.
Yep.
Comes with a insert. Lyrics, great artwork, and actually includes a logo back patch, which I have stored somewhere separately, just because it'll affect the covers.
Sure.
But highly recommend them. They've got several releases out since then, including some splits with Venefiction, as well as I think a new album coming out, I think any day now. I believe it's going to be on Iron Bonehead again.
Okay.
Highly recommend them.
Cool. All right.
Next up, really obscure band. Actually, to tell you the truth, I'm not even sure where they're from. I think they're from Chile.
Okay.
Actually, they are from Chile. Kerasfóra. Very dark, kind of, I don't know how to even describe it. It's got this weird kind of keyboard atmosphere. Very old school, I think early 90s black metal demo kind of style keyboards. More of an atmosphere, not the whole production. Traditional black vinyl on Iron Bonehead again.
Yep.
It's an EP. I think there's 2 songs. Yeah, 2 songs each side. If you're looking for something that's just got this weird kind of creepy vibe that you just can't put your finger on.
Okay.
Kerasfóra.
Nice.
Definitely
I can't say the name, but I'll listen to it.
Yeah, it took me a while to practice that. So I didn't stumble on camera.
What's your favorite song there?
That one would actually be Spectral Twilight, the first song on the second side.
Got it.
Just get an atmosphere that you really can't describe. It's something that you have to hear to to know what I'm talking about.
And I will hear it. So.
Yeah.
Sure. Cool.
All right, last but not least, this one's actually kind of a super group. It's called Skitliv.
Yep.
It's on Season of Mist, and it includes Nicholas from The Shining and Maniac, formerly of Mayhem.
Yep.
And it's pretty much hates everything, as you can tell by the back of the cover. It's painful. It's like agonizing pain in auditory form. Very well produced. The one song I recommend everybody listen to is Scum Drug. It makes your skin crawl. It's one of the most amazing, just agonizing recordings I've ever heard.
Nice.
And I believe they're supposed to put something else out eventually, but between Maniac and Nicholas, they have way too many issues, and trying to get them to put anything together has been proving difficult.
All right.
I've been hounding them though.
Right.
Definitely. Skitliv.
Vinyl?
Vinyl is a limited edition white double vinyl. I think the black vinyl is still available as a reissue from Season of Mist, or they may have licensed it to another label.
Okay.
But I also have the 10-inch that they put out on a picture disc. But something about the picture disc didn't have what this had. It was almost like it was like leftover tracks, and somebody decided, hey, I want to put it out. But highly recommend it. Skitliv, which means shit life in Norwegian.
Another shit.
Yeah.
Nice. All right, so I have quite a selection of musical offerings.
Tried to make a variety.
Yeah. It's nice.
Little black, little death, little traditional metal.
Nice.
Some things you can't really even put your finger on. It's, pretty hard to do these days. So if it's something that's that unique, I like to share that with people that are like-minded.
All right. So this is where we're going to say goodbye to Chris, and it was nice seeing you.
It was great
talking to you. I'm going to check out these albums one by one, and then for you folks out there, hang out, because in a matter of seconds, I will be talking about each and every one of these. I'll listen to them before the fact and then talk about them and tell you what I think about them and all of that. So definitely stick around. All right, so I'm back in the media room and ready to get to what I thought of these 10 records. So let's get to it. Starting with the debut EP from Spanish Black Death band Qayin Regis. This is Blackthorn, released in 2017 by Black Seed Productions. So definitely a cult-tinged black metal with a whole lot of atmosphere here. Some traditional and non-traditional elements of the genre are included, moving from the screechy, cavernous vocals, fast tremolo picking, and rapid beats, to more slow to mid-tempo sections with deep, ominous vocals, whether solo or choral. And it is those slower parts that often bring in some of the death metal flavor, but also some slight gothic overtones, notably with passages of dripping water and acoustic work in the final track, Prunus Spinoza Liturgia. Also loving the almost melodic shred in the solos, though still kept dark, which I can appreciate. Also digging the cover art image, which goes very well with the music. Since this is an EP, let's limit my favorites to one track, and that would be Scepter of the Shadow of Death, though all tracks are definitely worth checking out. Anyways, a short but sweet 19 minutes, which is just enough to make me want to hear the full-length album as well. Overall, I enjoyed this one and will be checking into this band further. So yeah, let's call this a like. Next is the second studio album from Finnish black metal band Devouring Star. This is The Arteries of Heresy, released in 2018 by Dark Descent Records. So definitely slow and doomy sludge, along with plenty of blasty moments where it counts. I dig both, but I gravitate more to what this band does in its slower sections. Either way, passages morph into each other in a progression, giving this album that needed atmosphere and dissonance. In fact, even tracks meld from one to the next, so you might not even know you went into another song without actually paying attention. Because of this, you might be finding that it all blurs into a single song with only subtle distinctions. That could be a plus or a minus, depending on what you're looking for. As for the vocals on this one, they're more gravelly and anguished than screechy, but get along with both slow and fast parts. As for favorites, Procreation of Blood is one, as well as Scar Inscriptions. So this is a good record to put on in the background and absorb, but I'm not sure it's something I'm going to pay a great deal of attention to. I don't hate it by any means, but I'm not crazy about it either. It's okay. Next up is the second studio album from Greek black metal band Devathorn. This is Vritra, released in 2015 by World Terror Committee Productions. So as Chris said, the vocals are quite vicious, with a snarling, yelly growl to them most of the time, almost more death than black, and this style is definitely where the vocalist shines the most. Production is really decent for the genre as well, a lot of clarity and separation, but also plenty of heaviness. Really digging the variety here with some cool melodic leads, dynamic drumming, chanting, brief moments of acoustic work, and some slow gothic passages, along with a whole lot of energy, albeit dark energy. Even from the first track, I was pretty convinced I would dig this album as it really starts out strong. What I found out later was that the record really doesn't let up much and ultimately delivers a heavy and immersive collection of tracks. Also, plenty of head-banging riffs, like a lot of them. The album is 64 minutes long, and although they could have chopped about 10 minutes off of this, they do make decent use of the remaining time. As for favorites, definitely Cathedral of Set, as well as Ars Diaboli and The Venomous Advent. So I really dig this album. It doesn't stagnate at all. It manages to keep my interest from the first track to the last, and for me in black metal, that's quite a feat. Anyways, this is a definite like. Next is the third studio album from German doom metal band Crossfault. This is As Strangers We Depart, released in 2021 by Iron Bonehead Productions. So here we have a doom metal band of the epic variety, occasionally hinting at Viking-era Bathory, but also mixed in some melancholic passages that would just as easily be at home on a Paradise Lost record. Vocals are more or less clean and powerful, but again melancholic. And to be fair, his range seems a bit limited, but not distractingly so. Two guitarists here who work well together in melding heavy and haunting riffs, with some acoustics sprinkled in at times. Pace is generally slow to mid, but typically slow, as you might expect from a doom record. As for the other influence throughout here, I'm usually not a giant fan of Viking metal most of the time, but the whole gothic doom thing really does make it all go down quite nicely. In fact, for me, it really works very well. As for favorites, Golden Mending is one, also Gods Left Unsung, and of course, the title track. Funny enough, I feel like I might have liked this more than Chris did, not entirely sure, but this is definitely up my alley in a number of ways, so not only is this a like, it's a buy as well. Definitely digging this one. Next up is the first full-length studio album from Icelandic black metal band Mannveira. This is Vita Ringur, released in 2021 by Dark Descent Records. So some rather cavernous and dissonant black metal here, a lot of weird, bendy notes, some ambient passages, and some scant tempo variety from track to track, though often favoring a sludgier pace. Vocals are distorted and distant with a great deal of growl. The playing here is somewhat loose, notably in the single note picking, but the general song structure holds some interest for me. I feel like there's even a little bit of black and roll in one of the tracks. Overall, my knowledge of Icelandic black metal is basically non-existent, though I have read that this band is somewhat typical for their scene's style and sound, so there's that. And since I couldn't pronounce these song titles to save my life, let's just list my favorites as track 2 and track 4. So this is fine for what it is, but it only held my attention so far before I zoned out, so I'm giving this one an okay. Next is the third studio album from American black and death thrash band Gravehill. This is Death Curse, released in 2014 by Dark Descent Records. So definitely a mix of black, death, and thrash, but it feels very thrash heavy with some blasty bits and growly vocals over top. Definitely thinking of early Sodom in some parts, and even early Autopsy and 80s Venom and others, but with more interesting guitar work. Speaking of which, some solid thrash riffing here, along with Slayer-esque dive bombs and similar manic soloing. Really getting some solid distinction from each track, so no recycling or getting samey throughout. Each track definitely has its own identity. Now, Chris did mention the band name, and I definitely found out about its origins while opening that Celtic Frost box set some time back. In fact, if you want to watch that, you can search my channel if interested. That set had the Gravehill Bunker demo rehearsals from 1984 on it, so a bit of cool metal history there. Funny enough, I don't hear much Celtic Frost in Gravehill, though maybe there's a pinch somewhere. Anyways, my favorites on this one are At Hell's Command, Fear the Reaper, and Crucified. Anyways, definitely a record that jumps around at times between the three aforementioned subgenres. Vocals are certainly primitive but engaging, and the riffing and killer solos really are the strong suit here. Even the production is decent. Given all that, I might need to check more into this band a bit more. So yeah, let's give this one a solid like. Next up is the debut studio album from American black and death thrash band Shitangel. This is Shithead Metal, released in 2022 by Drakkar Productions. So largely breakneck speed blackened death with deep cavernous vocals, drums on near constant blast, and ripping riffs. Even in those uncommon moments of slowing down, the riffs get utterly bang-worthy. Really enjoyed when the vocals would hit those almost smear of 80s destruction like squeals. And despite all the blasphemy and scary song titles, there's absolutely an element of fun to this band and the music, which I can appreciate. Production has more of a live feel to it and is overall effective, notably for this rather bestial form of black and death. Favorites here are Shithead Metal, Assaulter of Jesus Christ, and S&M Satanas. So overall, there is some good stuff going on here, but it's just not my wheelhouse. Given that, this is an okay for me. Next is the latest EP from Belgian black and death metal band Possession. This is 1585 to 1646, released in 2015 by Iron Bonehead Productions. So the album begins with a 2.5-minute sequence of rain, wind, thunder, bells, and choral chanting, fading straight into repetitive riffing and slow distant drum beats, building to the falling track. All of this takes up about 6 of the 25 minutes of this EP. As for the rest of the record, yes, it's black and death, but much more of the old school than anything modern. We're talking pre-Viking Bathory for the most part, though some of the soloing has roots in more recent sounds. Maybe you could toss in some scant Hellhammer influence, though admittedly, this is more musically competent than that. I also found that the EP does get better as it goes, which is to say that side 2 is overall stronger than side 1. As such, my favorites are Ceremony, Guilty, and Ablaze. Anyways, upon an initial listen, I'm somewhat between an okay and a like, though put a gun to my head, and I'll go with like. Some good stuff here. Next up is a demo EP from Chilean atmospheric black metal band Kerasfóra, or Kerasfóra. This is Dendi Totten Reiten Schnell, released in 2021 by Iron Bonehead Productions. So a wind and acoustic guitar instrumental opens the EP, followed by some odd keyboards and black metal screeches. Vocals are very distant and dissonant, with those keyboards definitely up front and center. Also, drums are almost muted by comparison, which is kind of interesting. I should mention this is a one-man project in the truest sense, and that its namesake does everything. It's certainly atmospheric, but it's black metal by way of what I'm hearing as Italian horror scoring, so maybe a little goblin, maybe a pinch. Anyways, I'm also digging the ponderous and melodic soloing amidst the creepy keys, intermittent acoustic work, and blackened vocals. Favorites on this one are Night's Symbol and Spectral Twilight, though everything on here is pretty good. Anyways, I don't feel this would be for the black metal purists who are probably looking for an all-out musical assault, but I am digging this on some weird level. Anyways, a definite like, oddly enough, and maybe even a buy. I mean, I still need to spend more time with it before considering the purchase, but I'm thinking about it. Incidentally, the EP title translates to Because the Dead Ride Fast, which is cool, but sounds cooler in German. And also a curious language choice for a Chilean band, because you're thinking that too, right? Next is the first full-length album from Norwegian black and doom metal band Skitliv. This is Scandinavisk Misanthropy, released in 2009 by Season of Mist. So the record opens with ambient sounds and a distorted, monotonous voice saying something. It's definitely 5 minutes of creepy, but I might have wanted this chopped down a bit or even taken out completely. Track 2 brings in some doomy, almost Sabbath riffing along with some swirling sounds and blackened vocals, and pretty much goes down this road for the rest of the record. The album is definitely going more for atmosphere and immersion, it would seem, and with a 69-minute runtime, it's a lot to take in. Although it's predominantly black and doom, there's also this industrial feel to it in scant parts, especially once you factor in the ambient elements. Ultimately, it's hard to say I have favorites on this one, but Hollow Devotion, Densetsu, and Scumdrug have their moments. Anyways, as much as I appreciate what's going on here, this album largely drags and drones on for way too long, whether in track length or album length as a whole. Sorry, but this is a dislike. So as for the tally, here it is. 1 dislike in the mix, and not bad overall, and 6 likes, which is really awesome. So I'd say that Chris did a good job at picking the records, while also bringing in some more, shall we say, challenging recordings. Of course, I'd like to thank Chris for coming on the show and letting me shoot at his place. As I said last time, you'll be seeing different guest co-hosts here and there, hopefully some more great album recommendations from them. And as always, if I do buy any of the albums mentioned today, I'll go into much more depth on them in future episodes of Vinyl Haul. But of course, album discovery isn't the only thing I do here at the Accusation Network. I also cover the subjects of metal vinyl collecting, as well as classic and modern metal in general. If you like the sound of it, definitely like this video, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so, and maybe share some of my videos with a few of your friends. And of course, thanks as always for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.